You don't have to click and hold it. There you go. What's up, everybody? Joe Donahue here alongside Matt Faust. It is Lincoln Part 2, Thursday night, the 28th?
Yes, no, June 29th.
Sorry.
29th.
June 29th. We got in the second Lincoln event. They canceled it on Monday night because of rain. They moved it to Thursday. Tonight was supposed to be our off night, but we got two of them earlier in the week. That's fine.
It's okay. We got to come back to Lincoln. It's been exciting racing for both races that we had here. We'll get into the second one, but really good racing tonight. Very happy with the result.
Absolutely. So why don't we go ahead and run down it. So we started off with hot laps. Your hot laps top 5 were Troy Wagaman in the 27, then Tanner Thorson, Ryan Smith, Danny Dietrich, and Dylan Norris. In qualifying, we saw one car at a time for 2 laps. The first turn had a nice little rut form. That was something to note during the qualifying session. At the end of that, Freddie Raymer was fastest over Brent Marks, Chad Trout, TJ Stutz, Anthony Macri, Justin Peck, Cam Smith, Tanner Thorson, Chase Dietz, and Dylan Norris. Moving into the first heat race of the night, it was Anthony Macri and Chase Dietz on the front row, and the field spread it out pretty quickly. And there's nothing really anybody could do since the track was so young.
It was pretty much, it's the same thing we saw on Saturday. It's the same thing you typically see here at Lincoln. The first few heat races, you really are like, wow, this is not great. Then towards the end, it starts working, and you're like, okay, we're going to have some good racing tonight, which is what we had tonight. So
heat race number 1 ended with Anthony Macri winning over Chase Dietz, Freddie Raymer, Danny Dietrich, and Lucas Wolf was the final transfer in that group. Heat race number 2 was more of the same with Justin Peck and Dylan Norris on the front row. Peck jumped the start the first time, and we had to run it back and do it again, but this time they flipped the second row to start in the front, and it was Trey Hivner and Brent Marks in the front. Now, Hivner dropped pretty quickly from that front row area, but Brent Marks did not. Besides that, not much happened. It was a little more of the same train racing. Brent Marks won over Dylan Norris, Justin Peck, Trey Hivner, and Kyle Moody was the final transfer in heat race number 2. In heat race number 3, it was Cam Smith and Tim Gladfelter on the front row. Devin Borden had a monstrous start from the back end of that group, and he was able to hustle up through the field. He hustled Chad Trout pretty much the entire time to try to get a top 3 out of his heat race. Didn't quite happen. We saw a kind of, I wouldn't say a surprise because he started up front, but haven't seen Tim Gladfelter win a heat race in a while, and he did so tonight over Cam Smith, Chad Trout, Devin Borden, and Ryan Smith was the final transfer in heat race number 3. Heat race number 4 was when things started getting a little bit interesting. Tanner Thorson and Brandon Raymer started on the front row. Tyler Ross was the big mover at the start. I think he passed, 4 or 5 cars on the first lap?
Tyler Ross looked very good tonight. I was kind of surprised, but he was moving, so it was good to see. Very good to see.
So it was a short-lived battle for the transfer that Ross got up there and was able to put a little fight to Matt Campbell, but it didn't quite work out. Short-lived battle there. At the end of it, Tanner Thorson was able to hold on to the lead, and he won heat race number 4 over Brandon Raymer, Kyle Reinhardt, TJ Stutz, and Matt Campbell. For the B main, Riley Emig and Tyler Ross were on the front row. It was a hornet's nest start and very exciting for a whole 2 laps before we had a yellow for Eddie Lumbar spinning out in turn number 2. The restart was single file and it spread them out, so we kind of saw more of the same with the train racing. B main started interesting, and then the end of it kind of resembled the heat races a little bit more.
Yeah, I was surprised. I saw Troy Wagaman. He was probably one of the fastest cars out there, but it was so spread out that he really wasn't able to do anything. But he was more, him and Skylar G had a great battle, but not going for the transfer. But still a good battle nonetheless. Probably one of the better battles we had tonight before the feature.
And at the end of the B main, it was Tyler Ross over Riley Emig, Billy Dietrich, and Jordan Givler. They were the guys who got those transfers. Skylar G and Troy Wagaman were the first ones out. Now we go to the A main. Freddie Raymer drew for the pole, and Tanner Thorson got to start to his outside. Freddie had a huge jump at the start and kind of was the story of the whole feature race as we go through here. Anthony Macri and Brent Marks, they started in rows 3 and 4 respectively. I think that's right. Yeah, that's right.
7th.
So they started sort of back there, but very quickly moved into the top 5, moving, slicing and dicing at the beginning there. Chad Trout had a pretty solid night up to that point and has had a very solid speed weeks up to when he had to unfortunately pull off the track. He ended up finishing last tonight as he had some sort of mechanical issue. The lap traffic came around with about 20 laps to go, and it let Tanner Thorson have a chance to make up what was at that point a straightaway lead by Freddie Raymer. He had a chance to catch up, didn't get to capitalize very much. Devin Borden was also very fast to this point, but seemed seemed like maybe the front end was a little too light. He was a little too squirrely. I was going to say sort of throttle jockeying in turns 1 and 2. To this point, we also got to see Justin Peck and Chase Dietz, who made his return to the Speedweek scene, have a nice little battle, and they also got in the mix with Brent Marks and Anthony Macri a little bit. They were all packed together. Peck and Dietz didn't really have the Macri and Marks speed, but they were all grouped up. With 10 laps to go, the traffic screwed Tanner Thorson and screwed Anthony Macri from having a chance to get to Freddie Raymer. And Matt, you kind of saw what happened there with the lap traffic and those guys a little better than I did. A little rundown on what you saw.
Ryan Smith was really holding up Anthony Macri, which is every right. He's allowed to race hard, but Anthony Macri was just not able to get by him. Every time it seemed like he was going to get some sort of straightaway, he was getting cut off by him coming off the turn. So not what Anthony Macri needed with the lap traffic, didn't go in his favor, but at the end, it grouped up, as we will see in the next caution, and he had another shot at it.
Right. So that was a great battle, and then with 3 laps to go, they were behind Tanner Thorson at that point. He got a flat tire and went up into the turn 4 wall, and that bunched everybody back up with 3 laps. So we re-rack, restack, got a lap in, and then with 2 to go, things got saucy with Chase Dietz, TJ Stutz, and Danny Dietrich. They ended up bunching up in turn number 1. Dietrich got the worst of it. He spun out and went up top. Didn't hit anything, but spun around, caused the yellow, and had to go to the rear of the field. So we tried it again from there, and Freddie Raymer, just story of the night, pulled away, and there was really no contention from there. Now, Brent Marks and Anthony Macri had a really great battle that came down to a last corner pass by Macri to get into the second position, but they couldn't touch Freddie. Freddie Raymer wins his first race of Speedweek in 2023. So as I said, behind him is Macri, and then Brent Marks, and then 4th was Justin Peck. 5th is TJ Stutz with a great performance. Chase Dietz ended up 6th. Cam Smith 7th. Dylan Norris 8th. Kyle Moody 9th. And Kyle Reinhardt in the top 10. And then from there, the points tally now updated has Anthony Macri with 659 points over Freddie Raymer with 553, so over 100 points from 1st to 2nd. Then Justin Peck with 537. Brent Marks is in 4th with 516. Danny Dietrich is in 5th with 467. Tanner Thorson has 435 points in 6th. Kyle Reinhardt with 407 in 7th. Dylan Norris with a 384 in 8th. TJ Stutz has 338 in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 in points, Lucas Wolf with 333 points. So at the end of the night, Matt, it's a great racetrack. We've been coming here for a long time, and we were very lucky to get into races here that they rescheduled it. Freddie Raymer, just class of the field, and sometimes we talk about Freddie not really having the advantage when the big dogs come to town for big races like this, but he did it tonight.
Yeah, he came out in qualifying strong. That's really what you had to do here. I feel like that's what he struggles with when the Outlaws or All-Stars come here. He's not able to qualify well, and then he's not starting up front where he's used to being. So he's able to capitalize on that tonight, and that really propelled him, and started in the front and didn't look back as he typically does here every week. So good to see. If you come to Lincoln, you feel like in a big show, Freddie Raymer needs to be up front. That's what you want to see, and just glad he was able to do it tonight.
Well, we'll see what happens, but next time out, it's Williams Grove tomorrow night in Mechanicsburg, so we'll be there. Happy to see more sprint car action. I want to thank everybody for following along all week long and supporting the channel. Hit subscribe if you want to keep up with the rest of the week, and we'll see you at Williams Grove next time. Take it easy, everybody.